When I was younger, I was in seminary and in law school, of course, not at the same time. What struck me was the professor's statement that they were there to teach us how to think, not what to think. And that's so contrary to what we see right now, isn't it? You think about what you see on the news or on the internet, or think about what's going on. Think about the inconsistencies of people's behaviors and their words. Think about the events and what they're trying to sell you. People are people. They have agendas. And what is that agenda? To get you to respond emotionally, to cloud your thinking so you'll have a visceral response to something and go along with them because they want you to believe that they have the righteous cause and everybody else is just dragging their feet or trying to cause trouble because they don't happen to agree. But part of the beauty of this country is that we understand that people aren't all going to agree. It's like being in a corporation. Not everybody wants to do the certain things a certain way, and that's why you have these discussions about what's the course you're going to have, and then reasoned decisions based on the facts of the matter, and a course is taken. But you find yourself here bombarded with what are claimed to be facts when the facts aren't really known. It couldn't be known at this time. And then people get curious as to, well, how would you have that information if this is something that's novel? How do you come up with a solution 2 months after you just had something occur that you said you didn't know about? Well, one only just raises your eyebrows. Well, how could that happen? Well, if you know people and you know businesses or industries, you know certain things happen in a certain time frame. You gotta shake your head and say, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Well, this is the time you do your research. When people say stuff and they make these statements and they're really, you wonder, what emotion are they pulling on? Fear, sadness, name one. Well, they're pulling you that way because they want you to align yourself with them. So you'll do what they want you to. Okay. Recognize you're being manipulated. I remember when my kids were little. Think about your kids when they're little. Well, they're experts in manipulating you or trying to divide you and your spouse between them to get their way. It's like little children. So when you see this stuff going on, they're just bigger people doing the same thing little people did. I don't mean to minimize that, but think about what they're doing and be wise. Engage your brain and critically think about what's going on. Sometimes that means you have to just kind of put your heart on hold a little bit while you think about it. We don't want to be driven by our heart, or nor do we want to be cold and just be driven by our brain. We need to put the two together. And the wisdom literature encourages us to be wise in the Old Testament and James in the New Testament as well. And the Bible's replete with emphasis on wisdom and thinking about and making decisions and not disengaging your heart. But we need to understand that sometimes people want you to do what they want you to do, and they will flood you with information because they know psychologically you will, and they know how to manipulate you. So I will encourage all of us to stop, think about the facts, research it, hold your heart at bay for a bit, and come to a reasoned conclusion, listening to as much as each side you can, without discounting somebody just because you don't necessarily agree with them. They could have some points that are valuable and can help you move in a certain way than you would have before. But if we have a position on one pole and someone has a position on another pole, what's the likelihood of either one of us moving? It doesn't mean you have to move, but sometimes in those areas where there is an area of debate, one has to be able to consider the other person's perspective. That's just true in law, and it's true generally in life. Know when you're being manipulated by emotion. engage your brain. We all need to think critically and clearly, especially and more importantly in times like these. Think about it. Blessing.